Did you know I never teach dogs stay? Nope. Not to my dogs and not to my clients' dogs. But you know what? If my boys are being demo dogs when I teach a group class or a workshop, they will happily stay on their beds and relax for up to an hour, even with other dogs working around them. So how do I get what is essentially an hour-long downstay with distractions when I've never actually taught stay? Stay tuned, because I'm gonna show you how. Hey, it's Natalie here from Canine Concepts, where I teach you how to train your dogs with fun games. Today, I'm gonna get all controversial and tell you why using a separate cue for stay could actually be preventing your dog's stay from being the best it could be. But most importantly, I'm going to teach you how to use a release cue to get that rock solid stay that you're after. And later, I'm going to show you how you can win your very own copy of the Absolute Dogs Boundary Games program. Valued at over 55 Australian dollars, this program will take that skill to the next level. So make sure you stay till the end. I've really got to stop those stay puns. Stay is considered a basic obedience skill. It's one of the first things people want to teach their puppies. But if your dog's stay is rubbish, it could be because you've been teaching it all wrong. This totally isn't your fault. For literally decades, us dog trainers have been telling people, in order to teach stay, you stick your hand in front of the dog's face and then in a firm voice say, stay. Here's why I don't do that. Firstly, if you saw my video, How to Teach Your Deaf Dog Sign Language, you'll remember that teaching a separate cue for stay changes the meaning of all our other behaviors. Professional dog trainers call this changing the criteria. Because if stay means hold position until I tell you to do something else, then does sit suddenly mean they can just hold the position for half a second, then bog off and do something else? That's certainly not the criteria I'm aiming for, and given that you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that's not your expectation either. We want clarity in our training. How are our dogs supposed to figure it all out if we're not aware of what criteria we want? So for me, sit means do this until I tell you to do something else, no matter what else is happening around you. Now you might be thinking, who cares if I need to use another cue to get my dog to stay? It doesn't really matter, does it? If we compare dog training to world peace, then no, it really doesn't matter. But if your dog can't reliably sit the first time you ask them, or if you need some form of intimidation to get them to sit and stay, then that extra stay cue could be part of the problem. You see, that separate stay cue makes the brain divvy up the reward value. The brain does this via the backpropagation of dopamine in accordance with the temporal difference rule. Huh? Essentially, if you think of your dog's reward as a handful of coins, using two different cues, sit and stay, divides that pile of coins in two. This means that the strength of those cues is only a fraction of what it could be. But if you ditch the stay cue and use the games I'm about to teach you, then all that reward value gets pumped into your original cue, making it stronger and more reliable. But beyond all the science, for most dogs, having a hand thrust in their face is kind of off-putting, and that firm voice, it can be pretty intimidating. I want my dogs to hold position because they enjoy the anticipation of the amazing experience to come. I don't want them holding position simply because they're not wanting to risk the consequences of moving. Now, if you've been training your dog like this, don't feel bad. You're in the right place. Better training methods are coming out all the time and nobody can know everything. So what do we do instead of teaching stay? We use a release cue. Remember that the cue itself could be anything. For deaf dogs, I often use a modified sign for play. For hearing dogs, you might like to use a verbal cue like break. For my hearing dog Chaos, I use fishing. Whatever cue you use, just pick something that's clear and that you're not going to accidentally say or sign. To teach the release cue, you're going to ask your dog to do a behavior like sit. The moment they get into position, mark and reward them in position. Then give your release cue and encourage them to come and play with you. As they get to understand that this means come and interact with me, you can gradually increase the time that they sit for. To do that, simply wait a moment after you've cued the sit, then release them and encourage interaction with you. Always play it safe. Release your dog before they choose to get up, even if you think they could possibly hold the behavior a little bit longer. And make the interaction with you fun. The more value you put into your release cue, the longer they will be willing to stay in position, waiting for that privilege. Now, we're all human. If you ever do muck up and they break position early, just don't reward that rep. Take a mental note and try again a little bit later. Don't tell them no or You don't need to do that. We're the ones who mucked up, not them. Plus, it's not the end of the world. It's dog training. Okay, so here's that bonus game I promised you. It's called Wanna Bet, and it's a super fun way to make your dog's default stay rock solid no matter what other distractions are happening around them. To play Wanna Bet, you're going to cue your dog to do a behavior. It could be anything. Sit, down, stand, go to your bed, do a handstand, any position that they can hold. Then we make a bet. You're going to introduce some sort of distraction, but you can bet that your dog can still hold position despite the distraction. You might do star jumps. You might leave the room. You might toss your dog's favorite food on the floor. You might run past them dragging their favorite toy. If your dog is just a beginner, you might want to just wave your hand a little bit or some other equally tiny distraction. Obviously, don't make it something that could potentially be unnerving or scary for your dog. Remember, it's only a game if it's fun. If you win your bet and your dog holds position despite the distractions, then give them their marker signal and reward them in position. Then give your release cue and engage them in an experience you think they'll really love. The reason we do that two-step reward in position, then release them out, this keeps our criteria nice and clear. The dog stays in position no matter what else is happening around them until we give the release cue. And that's why this game is called Wanna Bet. What is the biggest distraction that you could introduce and be willing to bet me $50 that they would succeed? Now, if they break position, that's on you. You lost the bet. Get a rolled up newspaper and bonk yourself on the head with it. Just kidding. You will make mistakes along the way. Just laugh and go back and try again, but this time make it easier so your dog can succeed. Two good rules of thumb are: 1, ensure you're succeeding at least 85% of the time. That high success rate builds really strong behaviors. And 2, avoid making 3 mistakes in a row. If this happens, you are setting your expectations well beyond your dog's actual skill level. Work at the level they're actually at, not where you think they should be. One final word on this game. Make sure that you ping pong the difficulty. So you might do a little distraction, then we might up the challenge. Then we make it easier again. We don't want the game to just keep getting harder and harder. Games are supposed to be fun, and that's not fun. Now, if you want to be in the running to win the Boundary Games DVD from Absolute Dogs, then head over to the Canine Concepts Community Facebook group. Post your video of you and your dog playing this game with the hashtag WannaBet. At the end of November 2022, the video with the most likes will win the DVD. All the links you need are in the description below. So the only question left to ask is, wanna bet?